Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We have some updates on the Jane Doe v. Clayton Echard paternity scandal, which is quickly turned into a con artist scandal. We should really remove Clayton's name from this because he's just the latest victim in what appears to be a repeated effort to control men into dating her. What does she use? What's the secret recipe in this sauce that is convincing men to date her? Well, fear. Basically fear that they won't be believed, fear of the court system, fear of a lot of things, and it's all starting to make sense. How to manipulate men and get away with it, the new episode of a Netflix documentary to be seen probably next year on Netflix. We'll have to see. I've got a few updates for you guys. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. If I sound exhausted and depressed, I'm not depressed. I am exhausted, but that's because I'm moving across the country this week. I have to say this. I'm trying my best to compartmentalize covering this case and my personal life, but it can be very challenging as I'm receiving emails at personal times and this and that. I had my 24-week update yesterday for my pregnancy, my wife's pregnancy, and boy is healthy, and we're still thinking of what names will offer him, and what his personality type's like. I mean, you ever try to imagine what your baby's personality type is just from holding your wife's belly and seeing how it kicks and tumbles? Is he a little jujitsu guy? Is he popping in there? Or maybe he's dancing. Maybe he's in the moo womb. We don't know. Either way, it's a happy time. I truly mean that, and I appreciate everyone's support. It's because of your support that we can smile on occasion while covering this, because it's an otherwise shit story. It's an otherwise real shit story. So what I'm going to share with you guys here is some revisited documents from the previous man's court case, Greg Gillespie here. I might actually see him soon, as I'll be, again, traveling across the country. Maybe I'll wave to him on the way by. Follow me, Bachelor Rush Hour, the morning and afternoon podcast. I've got all of your entertainment news in one place. The best way you can help out, a lot of people say, Dave, how can I help you elevate the story? What can I do? Well, my niche is kind of maxed out here on YouTube for now. It's growing slowly. But what's growing fast is the podcast. And we're now entering a lot of the true crime circles and different communities in the podcast world, which is a huge and separate world from YouTube. So if you want to help us continue to grow and stay in the top 200 of society and culture, the main podcast empire in the Apple Podcast world, just hit the subscribe button and continue to follow over there. I'll continue to give you guys hopefully interesting and unique information for you over there. And then every morning I'll be on Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal. I'm not sure what time this morning, probably at 11 a.m. I'm doing several different interviews, and I'm pretty much spending every waking moment trying to get this thing going. So, here's an interesting thing. I did an interview yesterday with Law Vices. They're based out of Korea. I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning to do it. And it looks like Jane Doe has removed my last name from her Medium article. Someone said, you can see here, she now calls Clayton a reality star, and she removed my last name. All references to Clayton have been removed. And some people were wondering why. Well, someone said, it appears as though Jane Doe watched the Legal Vices video yesterday. Dave acknowledged that he never asked her to remove the Medium article because people who read his name in the article look up his videos on the case and get the entire story. She does not want to drive traffic to his videos, giving him more exposure. Let me tell you something. People are going to find my videos and podcasts regardless. I appreciate that attempt. I don't mind right now her using my name unless it gets more volatile, but at this rate, her articles read as so irate and manic that I think anyone with a rational brain that I would consider someone who would enjoy my content in the first place can look at that and realize it doesn't all make sense. Okay. We're going to share with you guys a revisited, again, this was on Reddit, it's about 20 pages. I'm not going to share every page, but it's a revisited motion, response to plaintiff's motion to seal court records. Again, this was the man, sadly, Greg Gillespie, who had to deal with her for years and spent, my guess is, well into the six figures of amount of money to maintain his defense over all of the accusations. So let's just read this and then we'll talk our way through it. Defendant Gregory, and by the way, I'll just say this. She told me Like she told a lot of people, you can't cover this. Those documents must be sealed because no one has access to them. When in fact, we find out it's actually just kind of a pain to get access to some of these documents in Maricopa County. As I talk to different people who cover the law all over the country, they say, yeah, it was really hard. The way they didn't offer the documents, we had to go in person, whereas a lot of places you just quickly get a digital thing sent to you. I mean, reality, Steve tried to get a video of the court and they sent him a CD-ROM drive. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? He had to log into his AOL and fire up the modem just to get this. So kind of a pain in the butt here, but the truth will still rise to the top. Excuse me. Defendant Gregory Gillespie, by and through undersigned counsel, hereby responds and objects to plaintiff's motion to seal. Plaintiff's motion fails to meet the requirements to seal pursuant to Rule 5.4 Arizona Rules of Civil Procedure and only serves to highlight why the matter must be dismissed pursuant to the pending rule. This response is supported by the following memorandum, which I'm going to show. And by the way, some of the exhibits are going to show the fraud, duplicated ultrasounds. The wildest one is allegedly, according to these documents, they say that Jane Doe pretended to be a law firm here. I mean, wild stuff. Memorandum. Rule 5.4 controls sealing of court records. Permits the court to seal the court records upon finding the following grounds. Order permitting a document to be filed under seal. Requirements, unless a statute, rule, or prior court order authorizes that a document to be filed under seal, a court may order that a document may be filed under seal only if it finds in the written order that an overriding interest exists that supports filing the document under seal. So they just go through all the different reasons of why things should be under seal. And of course, this was denied. None of this was sealed. She wants it sealed because she wants to have her cake and eat it too, right? She wants to be able to punish these men and not have the public, I don't know, I guess scrutinize it. And of course, by unsealing, by making sure these documents aren't sealed, we were able to figure it all out and figure out the gameplay. She wanted basically no one to see what her plays were, and this is the old playbook being showed to the world. Plaintiff filed her complaint on August 11th, 2021. That's Jane Doe. Plaintiff alleges she became pregnant with defendant's child on their second date. Que convenient. Instead of properly filing a paternity action pursuant to Title 25, plaintiff's complaint contains bizarre allegations. Among other things, plaintiff alleges defendant forced plaintiff to have multiple pregnancy tests and a doctor's appointment, and defendant employed false promises and verbal and emotional abuse. Plaintiff's preposterous claim of abortion coercion is addressed in defendant's motion to dismiss, filed on September 24, 2021. The salacious allegations were presented by plaintiff to her pro per complaint. In her pro per complaint, which means she didn't have a lawyer, is a brief summary for the court. So here we show. And by the way, this is what she probably would have done with Clayton if he agreed to date her and do all of that. I'll let you do what you want with the baby. And then all of a sudden he's like, all right, let's get an abortion. And she's like, he coerced me into an abortion. Plaintiff, and by the way, these documents are going to get pretty crazy. Plaintiff provided a sonographic image to defendant on August 6. Exhibit A, a reverse Google image search reveals the images were identical to a sonogram found on a blog post from 2014. And again, we'll show you all of this. Plaintiff sent defendant a fabricated email exchange on August 22nd, 2021, purportedly between herself and California attorneys. One of the attorneys and the legal assistant on the exchange were not employed at the firm at the time of the alleged emails, and the law firm has denied involvement in this matter. This is Joe Cotchett. This is the law firm that's apparently helps her family out. She calls him Uncle Joe. Well, apparently they deny in being involved in this. So did she take any previous letterhead from them from a court case she was already in and copy and paste it together? I mean, a normal law firm would probably be really upset, but if it's a law firm that protects the family, maybe they just gave her a slap on the wrist. I don't know. They coerced me. Okay. As absurd as it sounds, plaintiff has attempted to weaponize this civil litigation in order to force defendant to date her. And again, this was before Clayton, so when they say as absurd as it sounds, it no longer sounds absurd. It sounds exactly like what she does. I mean, I wish it was still absurd, but the absurdity has worn off, Your Honor. On August 23rd, I'm heating up, folks. The coffee's kicking in. I'm all locked in, baby. Plaintiffs informed defendant's counsel that defendant could contact plaintiff if he rethinks his decision regarding a relationship. Oh, and by the way, Greg Gillespie is now, having a baby this month with his girlfriend, his lovely, beautiful girlfriend, and clearly he's rethought that decision and is happy with the moves he has made. In an email to defendant's counsel on August 23rd, 2021, plaintiff states, if he chooses to stand by his words, I will file to dismiss with prejudice all charges related and not file a criminal and family law case. All I'm asking him to do is keep his word. If he does that, everything will be dropped. That's weaponizing. He can contact me at my number if he rethinks his decision regarding a relationship, and then we'll go to the Exhibit D. On September 1st, 2021, defendant, through counsel, informed plaintiff that she would be facing fraud allegations, counterclaim, for what has occurred, and that it would be wise to abandon her malicious claim to end this nonsense. Plaintiff's motion to seal is deficient. Okay, so now he's returning with his fraud allegations. She's probably got the sex toys out like, oh boy, we got a party. You know what I mean? She's getting off to all of this, in my opinion. All right, so, who could know, right? Sealing a case, don't threaten me with a good time, folks. Sealing a case is reserved for matters where an overriding interest exists to support filing the documents under seal. Here, a self-aggrandizing podcaster who has refused a paternity. I'm going to save that right there. A self-aggrandizing podcaster. That's a funny line. I could be called that too. Hey, it's your boy Dave Neal, self-aggranding podcaster. Although I'm not refusing paternity tests. I am the father. Not of hers, of mine. Doctored images and who may have entered into this bizarre and nonsensical civil suit as a fodder for her podcast is not entitled to Rule 5.4 relief. Rather than allege an overriding interest, plaintiff states she is a popular self-help podcaster and victim's advocate. Plaintiff also alleges that her desire is for any money won to be donated to a women's charity and that she does not wish to have her pure intentions and desire for justice to be public. She filed the confounding complaint, and this is certainly not an overriding interest. Plaintiff's purported career and popularity is insufficient grounds. Further, plaintiff now requests this court seal only defendant's motion to dismiss, despite stating that her complaint was of an extremely private nature. Oh, that's weird. She wants her cake and eats it too. Plaintiff's complaint created the very problem plaintiff now seeks to make private. We saw this in the Clayton case. You know, everything that's a problem with her is her own doing, except the pregnancy. She had multiple opportunities. That's nobody's doing. It doesn't exist. She had multiple opportunities to dismiss the matter. Clearly, defendant's motion to dismiss showed plaintiffs that her complaint backfired and that defendant is not going to be forced into a relationship with her. That plaintiff seeks only to seal defendant's motion to dismiss demonstrates that plaintiff knows she has been caught fabricating allegations and that she will be facing allegations of fraud in a public court forum. Plaintiff cannot benefit by having defendant's motion to dismiss sealed and have her salacious complaint remained unsealed. This entire litigation is nothing more than a paternity action. If she's actually pregnant and there is a pending motion to dismiss because plaintiff has not stated a legally cognizable claim, plaintiff's motion to seal is an overt attempt to further her fictional narrative and possibly even a ruse to gain more podcast followers. Plaintiff simply cannot be permitted to seal defendant's motion to dismiss because it reveals the false nature of her behavior. The court need merely look at Exhibit A and B. Oh, so they're accusing her of trying to get more podcast followers. That's the way to do it. Or you could be a podcaster covering it, and maybe you'll get more followers then too. Hey, not my intention, but if people can do it with it what they want. Wherefore, defendant hereby respectfully requests the following. The court deny plaintiff's motion to seal court records, that this court dismiss plaintiff's complaint in its entirety with prejudice, that this court award defendant his attorney's fees and costs pursuant to this rule, that this court grant such other and further relief as deemed appropriate. Respectfully submitted, Woodnick Law. Yes. 2 years ago, this was the same lawyer that Greg Gillespie had, again, Greg Woodnick, and that, of course, is who we have now. So this, and again, I shared this before, but again, this is in the exhibits. This is what Janeth Doeth shared with Greg Gillespie, a complete weaponization of what is supposed to be a miraculous moment. Looks like you're going to be a dad to 1 or 2 babies. Was sick enough to go to the clinic this afternoon and had to get an ultrasound to make sure I wasn't having an ectopic pregnancy. I wasn't. I found out that I've been pregnant with twins. Looks like one of them, and by the way, she claims she never sent this message to him. She claims she was never the one who claimed twins. Again, she didn't claim that till more recently. Looks like one of them passed or isn't doing well, probably because of the medicine I took. I had the option of a surgical abortion and elected not to. If If I'm going through this on my own, I will let God decide if he wants both, one or none to be born, and the kids would deserve to know their father's side of the family. Let me tell you something about God. If he does exist, he's wanting the truth to come out, and that's exactly what's happening right now. And maybe God is the one that put us all together in this mess to get to the truth. Maybe the fact that she tried this again with the Bachelor, Clayton Echard, and it stumbled upon my little community of truth seekers. Maybe this is God's final word. I don't know. I don't know if you believe in those types of things, but really, a higher power here is putting an end to this bullshit. I'll tell you that. So here's the article from 2015, and there's the actual. And are ultrasounds equivalent to fingerprints? I mean, they're very specific, and they were proved through reverse Google searching to be the same exact one. I don't know if she denies any of that. So there they are, folks. And again, maybe this bottom one was distorted and pulled. I'm not really sure. It would be super easy. I could do it in 2 seconds. I could pull and distort this in 2 seconds, but apparently Google is smarter than that. So anyway, here we have Casey Bowman. This is from Greg, and this is to Casey Bowman. Urgent copy of conversation with Joe Cotchett and contract. So what is this? A copy of a conversation with Joe Cotchett. Who is Joe Cotchett? Well, he's a lawyer based in California. That's all we know. But here's what it is. I hope you had a great weekend and that the smoke didn't get as bad on the peninsula as you thought it would. I miss our dinners and I hope you get out here soon, although I've yet to find another house of prime rib, so lower your standards for now. Again, thank you so much for the enormous help you've been in this sad situation that I am in. So this is from Jane Doe to Joe Cotchett. Here's where I'm at. After many emails I heard from Greg this morning, he wants to discuss things tomorrow at 7 p.m. I was surprised, but certainly wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt since all I have wanted is for him to keep his word. Since his initial message, I have sent more messages that I know he has read and they have been left unresponded to. As much as I want to give him more and more chances, I don't think he wants them. I think the best call is to pursue alternative service and to try to get him twice. Again, this means serving him, I believe, court papers, once by posting on his house door and the other by calling his company and finding a coworker to serve him, which of course would humiliate him in front of all of his coworkers. I think you're right that you would be better at making those phone calls than me. I texted you the coworkers who we could ask to serve. Once that happens, we can file for the punitive damages like you recommended. I really do stand firm in staying under $100,000 in punitive damages, but I guess it also depends on the damages to the child. Although, wouldn't that also be covered in family court? I will think about what you said about trying to go for a settlement straight out of the box. I don't want to play this nasty. Honestly, I just wish this never happened and that we could just be happy like he said we could be. Here's hoping he proves us wrong. I'm giving him one more chance. One more change. She meant one more chance. Love, Janie Doe. So, now that we're looking at this in hindsight with rose-colored glasses, and as we speculate here, the allegation is that she made this all up. So that's why, just like when she emailed her mom, it's the same move, really. If this is what she's doing, is that she'll email her mom, which really isn't who she's emailing. Like here, she's emailing someone, probably herself, taking this, screen grabbing it, and then possibly putting a letterhead with Photoshop. Again, it's a lot of copy and paste. It's lots of arts and crafts, if this is what's going on. Again, I don't know for sure, but these are their allegations. Sent on behalf of Joe Cotchett. So this is the response from, I believe, this same woman here who works for Joe Cotchett. Janie Doe, what's the update? I'm ready to get started on this the second you give me the go-ahead. As soon as you're ready, I'm ready to go. As much as I want this guy to be exactly the man he's told you that he is, I'm not convinced that he is. Okay, so it all reads the same, right, guys? Are we all in agreement that this just reads like fan fiction? I'm always here for you in the whole Janie Doe family. Whenever you need me, and if you want me to go after this guy, I will make this case a top priority. Shush. SHH ... because I really feel for you right now. Allison sent me over the retention agreement and medical files. Every test result that came into our office matched what you had said. You're the best, Janie Doe. We think you're so great. We love you. It's just like, okay, what are we doing here? Who's saying all of this? This guy has nothing going his way here, and I think he could provide for a real landmark case regarding abortion. This could provide for a real landmark case regarding abortion coercion. This may be very needy, and we could make this a public interest story with a snap of a finger. I tell you what, let's make this a public interest story. Here we are. However, be careful what you wish for. You didn't realize you'd be the subject of the public interest. I wish I could abort this story for my life, but here we are. However, in your interest, we could also just follow for judgment immediately so that you could start receiving money immediately. Remember, any man who would feel like the luckiest man alive to have you by his... Oh, no! Oh, no! I've never read this before. Okay, again, if you were like half listening, tune the F in. So, Greg Gillespie, the guy who was the victim before Clayton Echard, he alleges these are fake emails from the founding partner of Clout, Peter, and McCarthy, right? They say that Clout says they're not involved in this case and all that jazz, which leads us to believe that Jane Doe wrote this right here to herself. Remember, any man would feel like the luckiest man alive to have you by his side. You were polite, kind, and thoughtful as a little girl, and those qualities got even better as you got older. Regardless of what happens, I am by your side. What world do I live in? And then it is, so they say this just isn't real. And then it goes on, and there's a couple more pages left. And so, please see below. And we're going to continue here. This is from Allison Cordova, an associate at Clout, Peter, and McCarthy, who Woodnick Law claims wasn't even working there at the time. Sent on behalf of Joe Clout. Please see below. Joe's secretary informed me that he had actually received the medical authorizations from you. Thank you. Everything you told us about pregnancy tests and ultrasounds aligned with the timing you provided us. There were no past pregnancies on your record, and the 3 obstetricians you saw felt that pregnancy was very consistent with intercourse that took place between June 30th and July 1st. They have all also said that the abortion pills will play a big role in your child's development. Typo. It must feel like you have the weight of the world on you, but I have no doubt that the jury will sympathize with your situation. The next step is to fill out the attached retention agreement. I guess she got away with this because people did sympathize with their situation. Which, by the way, I'm not going to blame people for their naivete, for expecting that someone wouldn't be lying like this. I always said this, and I'm going to say it again today. The greatest quote Albert Einstein ever said was, "You have to decide. You and the audience have to decide. Do you live in a friendly world or an unfriendly world?" I've chosen friendly. And that's why I think a lot of people abuse friendliness, because they are able to take advantage of others' goodwill. And it took a lot of gumption, balls, and energy for Greg Gillespie to fight this. Did his lawyers believe him at the time? Who knows? Who knows if anyone believed him at the time? The truth has come out for Greg Gillespie. He will enter this world this month as a father, and he will be a great dad. And he will be able to tell his story in its entirety, and it's with truth behind him. And not everyone gets the chance to do this. If it weren't for Clayton's story becoming a public interest piece, we would never know any of this. Sure, he would, but it wouldn't have picked up the attention it deserves. Contingent fee agreement. And then this, again, was also alleged to all be made up. In consideration of the legal services to be rendered by the law offices of Clout, Peter, and McArthur, that's a long one, and the advancement by them at all costs necessary in the prosecution of all claims against party responsible. So what does this mean? They get 23%. This is just her way of showing Greg Gillespie, I mean business here. And by business, she means in art degree. Photoshop, specifically. I'm minoring in Photoshop. Copy and paste. Get out the glue sticks, bitch. Attorney's costs, the law firm, blah, blah, blah. So, and again, it just goes through all of the different costs and fees and waiver of jury trial regarding disputes between client and attorneys. So anyway, dated Scottsdale, August 23rd, 2021. Again, it's alleged that none of this is real. I mean, if it is, you guys know my phone number. 401-213-9828, our phone number over here. You can call me up. You can leave a message. By the way, any sources that want to talk about this in the inner circles, we have received top-notch sources that have confirmed all of our beliefs that this is a crazy, crazy situation and that I am not the crazy one. We're just reporting on it. Not crazy, just feeling crazy because didn't think this was possible to exist, to be quite honest. All right, folks. Well, I've got some interviews going on today. I'll tell you this. I need as much love and positivity out there because we are holding down the fort. I know some people have been critical of the interviews and podcasts I'm going on to get this story out. Just I'll say this, if you've trusted my coverage in delicate nature of handling this story so far, trust that whoever I talk to regarding this story will be about elevating the truth. That's what we're all about, elevating the truth here. And we're not going to let anybody weaponize this story in any sort of way to people can do with it whatever they want, to be quite honest. But I am confident in this community we have that is seeking the truth here, and to know that there are real victims out there. And we need to operate like a snowplow and just plow these court cases out of the way so that real victims can get the help that our taxpayers really pay for and that our tax dollars really want. I stand by that. There will be people that will begin to slam me for people I associate with and shows I'm going on and this and that. I guess that's just going to be part of it. If people want to throw stones at me for the work I'm trying to do, I guess that'll be part of it. I'm asking for compassion. As we've asked for compassion for Clayton and Greg and all the people that are dealing with this, I'm asking for compassion and grace as I pursue this, because every piece of criticism, while some of it may be fair, really does add up, and it does take away the bandwidth from fighting the actual fight. All right. Thank you guys all so much. Like I said, I'll be live at Patreon. You can support me there. And if you want to support for free and haven't done already, please join the podcast, Bachelor Rush Hour, where we cover this every day. I'm getting 1-star and 2-star reviews from people who are saying, I don't want you to talk about it. This has to be talked about until it is done with. I'm sharing other entertainment news, so if you don't want to hear everything about this, we're sharing light news and stupid news and fun news, and you get it all over there in one place. All right, we'll be back with more right after this.